Okay, so new Pokemon in the teal mask. Munkidori, Okidoki, and Fazandipede. We don't really know what these are going to be like. A lot of people are speculating that they're going to be poison types. Maybe like poison water, poison grass, poison fire, as sort of like a secondary starter, you know, for the DLC. The one thing we know about them is that they all have the ability Poison Chain, and it's basically just like anytime they use a move and hit you with it, there's a chance to poison. So it's Poison Touch, but it works on special moves too. Uh, Pretty interesting ability. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, but I mean, if you run a spread move and then like imagine one of these gets Snarl, right? And then you're like, you Snarl, you lower the special attack of your opponents, and then they both get poisoned, and you're like, hell yeah, you know? Look at some kind of super chest Pokemon cards. Yeah, I'm like sort of into the TCG, but not a whole lot. Returning Pokemon. This is where it gets interesting. So Ninetales, that's going to be huge. We get another Drought Setter, and Ninetales being there implies that Alolan Ninetales is also going to be there because we have some other stuff that's shown that like Exeggutor is listed and Alolan Exeggutor is available in the game. We've seen it in the trailers, so almost certainly Alolan Ninetales is going to be there. It's a better Snow Setter than Abomasnow. We'll actually have a good Snow Setter. It's going to be insane, and it like perfectly synergizes with the defense boost from Hail or from Snow because its special defense is already good. And it gets Aurora Veil, and it gets Blizzard, and like, it's going to be really good. If we've seen Snow have success with its best setter being Abomasnow, Snow is poised to make a rise to power, I think. And Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales is going to be a big part of that. Snorlax. These are really tiny for y'all, actually. Let me Snorlax. Good Pokemon. Glad it's back. Don't know why you'd ever use this anymore now that Ursaluna exists, but, you know, I like Snorlax. It just has worse stats than Ursaluna, and if you're going to run Snorlax, you're probably running Belly Drum, and you can just run Belly Drum on Ursaluna. No real reason to use it. Happy to see the silly Sleepy Boy back, though. Furret has a good support move pool, but its stats are bad, and its typing is mid. Normal doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, it doesn't hurt you a whole lot, but it doesn't really do anything for you. It'll be like a decent support mon, but probably by the time it's in the game, not good enough to actually see any play. Sort of like how Raichu is what I'm predicting it's going to be like. Noctowl, also not a good Pokemon. Like, you might have seen... It might have seen play in the very first series of... in the very first regulation, like Regulation A. It might have been on like some niche fun teams, but it's just not good enough. It can't keep up. The only time that it's seen any play was when somebody was memeing with it in Gen 8, and they were memeing with it and using Dynamax to make up for the fact that its stats are so bad, because Dynamax doubles your HP. It will not see play. It's bad. Ambipom gets Technician and Fake Out. That always interests me. It doesn't really have much beyond that. It's kind of bad, but I'll definitely try it out because I think it's funny. It's just, why would you ever, like, in reality, right? As much as I'm excited for this, why would you ever use this when the other Fake Out Pokemon that are already in the game exist? Like, Iron Hands exists, it gets Fake Out. Hariyama exists, it gets Fake Out. Raichu gets Fake Out. Rillaboom gets Fake Out. Sneasler gets Fake Out. Like, no reason to ever run this. Ever. Yanmega is really interesting because it gets Speed Boost as an ability. So at the end of a return, you get +1 in speed. You hate Ambipom? Well, then you're going to have a great time because you're not going to see it ever. Yanmega gets Speed Boost, and it's got a pretty good special attack stat. It also gets Tinted Lens, but I think most people run Speed Boost. As a reminder from earlier, Tinted Lens makes not very effective moves normally effective by doubling the power of the move when it is resisted by the opponent. Yanmega gets Speed Boost, has some good coverage moves, has a decent special attack stat. I could see somebody running like Specs on this and having a fun time. I could see somebody running like a boosting set on this and having a good time. Like, it'll be fun. I also just really like the Yanma line. I'm very partial to it. I will absolutely try Yan Mega. I don't expect it to be like a main meta threat, but it's definitely like something you could throw onto a team and have a good time with and still find some success. Gliscor. This gets Poison Heal. Poison Heal Gliscor with Terra sounds devious. Sounds absolutely dastardly. It's still probably not going to be as good as Lando T, or I guess Lando I even. But it does get like Swords Dance, it gets Earthquake, it gets Poison Heal, so you can just give it a Toxic Orb and it recovers 12% every turn, which I think is more than leftovers. Like, this thing's absurdly hard to kill and has been for a super long time. I have never had a chance to play with this mon. It hasn't been legal in a like series that I've played, so I'm excited. I'm gonna use it, but I think this is probably like a pretty mid Pokemon. You know, like you're not gonna see it a whole lot, but you'll see it every once in a while, and it'll be annoying to kill. And it'll look cool because that's what it does. It doesn't die and it looks cool. Mightyena is doo-doo dookie dog shit. It's really bad. Its stats are bad. Its move pool is bad. The only thing that's about it that's decent is its ability Intimidate, but you're never going to run Intimidate on this mon, or you're never going to run this as your Intimidator because there's better options. Why would you ever run Mightyena? Shift Tree. Not particularly good. I like it a lot. I think Shift Tree is a ton of fun. It gets Chlorophyll. It gets Leaf Blade. It gets Throat Chop. It gets Explosion. Back when I was playing in Sword and Shield, before I even knew what EVs were and what they meant, I would run Chlorophyll, Choice Band, Shift Tree, and like Oko things with Leaf Blade, and then like take a bunch of damage and switch out, and then bring it back in, and then it's faster and everything still because I still have Sun Up, and then just click Explosion, get a KO for free. It's really stupid but really fun. I'm excited to use it again. It's not a good Pokemon. I love it. Crawdaunt, too frail to really do anything in doubles. It's actually pretty good in singles, but it's really frail. It does have some decent typing. Water Dark, that's pretty good stuff. And it also gets it's got a great move pool. It's got like Aqua Jet. I think it gets Crab Hammer. Gets dark moves that are good. Gets Swords Dance. Has a pretty high attack stats. You can like Choice Band it. Somebody will use it, but it's not a good option. Like, again, every time we're talking about physical water types, why would you run them when they're not Urshifu? You know, this is going to have the exact same problem. Chimecho, it's mid. You're basically never going to see this. Its stats are too bad. It's got like some cool-ish support moves, but like you're just not going to see it. It's not good enough. Melodic gets competitive. I'm a huge fan of the ability competitive. That's part of the reason I'm such a huge fan of Galarian Articuno, is because it gets competitive. Melodic is super bulky. We saw it using what people think is Scald on the trailer, and Scald is a disgusting move. It's a 90 base power, I want to say. It's either 80 or 90 base power. So high base power water move, 100% accurate, 30% chance to burn. Pretty disgusting. And we're not sure if Melodic is going to be like the only one that gets it or anything like that. But its niche as a bulky water type with competitive to punish intimidators, with Scald to burn physical attackers, it's going to be good. Is it going to be super top tier? Maybe not, but it's going to be good. Vikavolt, this mon is super funny. It's got 145 special attack, but it's pretty slow, and its typing isn't that great. I'm going to try it out because I think it's hilarious. I think it looks funny, and I think it is funny, and so I will use it. But, yeah, it's not that great. Still excited for it, though. I'll definitely make some teams with it. Alright, so that's everything out of the teal mask. Let's look at the indigo disc. I'm not really covering the legendaries because we don't know anything about the legendaries yet. Dugong gets Fake Out, which is kind of cool. Gets Paris Song, which is kind of cool. But its stats are bad. Its abilities aren't great. You're not going to see it basically ever, I don't think. Executor. The main thing holding Executor back these days is its typing. It's got so many weaknesses. And now we're playing in a tournament metagame. You can Terra. You don't need to worry about those weaknesses. You can have a great time. It'll be a good time. Executor is going to be decent. And Alolan Executor comes back, which gets a lot of cool support moves like Knockoff. They can both set Trick Room. Good stuff. I expect Executor to see a little bit of play. Maybe not a ton, but some. Flygon. It's probably not really worth running. Unless Levitate is like that big of a deal to you. But it only has 100 attack and 100 speed base. So like, you're not really hitting stuff very hard. But it still has Dragon Dance, right? It has Terrestrialization. So you could like Terra Electric and have no weaknesses, or like do something else like that. And avoid ground as a weakness. And D-Dance up and try and go for sweeps. It's not really worth using this when other options exist. But it's fun. Flygon's a fan favorite. I'm sure somebody will use it. It's not going to see like tons of competitive success though. Melodic is here again. We already talked about that, so we'll skip it. Metagross. I'm so excited for Metagross. Metagross is going to be so much fun to use. It gets Clear Body. It gets Terra to solve the fact that it's a Psychic type. It doesn't want its Psychic typing, but it's there. It gets excellent moves like Bullet Punch. Choice Band Bullet Punch from this thing is disgusting. It does so much damage. Yeah, I'm super excited for Metagross. It's got great defensive stats. Its speed is pretty mid, but it's not hard to compensate for that. Gets like Earthquake as a coverage option. Like, this mon is going to be so good. I'm going to put it on everything. I'm so excited. Zebstrika. I love Zebstrika. It's not good. It will continue to not be good. Whimsicott is very similar to Tornadus in the fact that it has like a trillion support moves, but it's faster than Tornadus. So you can always reliably taunt Tornadus before they can do anything. You can always Tailwind before they can taunt you. You can always Encore them before they can do anything to you because you're faster. Like, it's got so much versatility, and then you can run like Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam or whatever. Its special attack is lower, but that's not really a big deal. You're running it for support. You're running it for the support it provides, and it's one of the best support Pokemon of all time, and I'm happy to have it back. Cincino, it's sort of interesting because it gets Skill Link, so it can do like multi-hit moves a ton. But we already have a normal type that has a multi-hit move that's really busted, and that's Maushold. So why would you ever run this when you can run a physically offensive Maushold? There's not really any reason to. But it's a fun Pokemon. I like it. Reuniclus. Nice to have another Trick Room setter, another offensive Trick Room setter. It gets stuff like Magic Guard, so or gets the ability Magic Guard, so you can use it really similar to how I used Hatterene in the past. Basically make yourself entirely immune to opponents trying to put you to sleep, and pretty reliably guarantee that you get Trick Room up. After Trick Room is up, this one actually has some really solid special attack and a good move pool, so you can reliably deal damage to your opponents after getting into Trick Room, which I think is like the biggest thing that I dislike about Cresselia is that it's so passive, right? You're relying on just one of your Pokemon to do all the work. Reuniclus changes that, right? Now both of your Mons, once you get into Trick Room, are dangerous. Both of your Mons are threats. It's just like Hatterene in that sense. It'll definitely see play. It's also just a silly little guy, and I notably love silly little guys. Golurk. It's good offensively. It's pretty slow. We could maybe run it on like a Trick Room team. Ground and Ghost is really good coverage, and now you can Terra to give it more stab options. You know, it'll be okay. I don't expect it to be really good, but it'll be okay. Meowstic. Interesting support Pokemon. Nothing else beyond that. It's unfortunate that Meowstic's getting introduced at the same time as Whimsicott, and with Tornadus already in the game, because it's probably never going to see any play, because it's just not as good at doing support things as those other mons. But it's an interesting enough support Pokemon. I could definitely see somebody using it to like some success at some point. Alcremie. Alcremie's kind of a weird Pokemon. It doesn't really have a lot of special attack. It doesn't really have like any stats that are really mind-blowing, but it's like good. It's like got good balance stats. So it's overall it's going to be generally bulky. It's going to do okay damage, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it gets a signature move, Decorate. And Decorate, if I remember right, sharply raises, yeah. So it sharply raises the attack and special attack of the Pokemon you target. And it bypasses Protect. So what you can do is instantly give your attackers +2 with this thing, even if they're protecting. So that's going to be its niche. Hey everybody, this is Chief. That video came directly from my live stream. If you're looking for a place to just hang out, talk about Pokemon, or just want to chill and have a good time, I'll leave a link in the description, and I hope to see you there.